If you are anticipating a potential influx of sword-wielding baddies at your wedding ceremony, or if you suspect that your betrothed may in fact be a sword-wielding baddie, what have you heard? This video is here to help. This is also the part where you can check the comments to see how many people don't understand the concept of humor. The principles of sword fighting are not really something that you can cover in a single video, but I hope that I can help you figure out how you, or more likely the character that you're writing, can adapt their Tybalt or Degrassi or small sword style or whatever, to heavy, puffy skirted clothing. My name is Jill Bearup, I pretend to fight people on stage for fun. Let's talk about what your heroine might wear if expecting a fight at the ceremony, or anywhere else that big gowns may be required. Masquerade balls, coronations, the state opening of Parliament. The biggest thing we have to consider is maneuverability. While every sword fighting style has its own specifics regarding movement, everybody walks on the ground. Regardless of style, your legs will need to move in basically every direction. Advancing, retreating, passing steps, lateral steps, traverses, demi-volte, lunging, maybe even the punto reverso. Though hopefully a better one than that. What were you aiming for, Jill? His knees? Thank you. So let's talk about the skirt. Anything above ankle length that has sufficient fabric in it not to impede movement will probably be fine, as you'll see from the knee-length skirt that I'm demonstrating in. Long skirts with trains and no structure underneath them, i.e. the fabric trails the ground and sits right on your legs, are probably the least practical option, unless we count hobble skirts, I suppose. If you try to step back in a dress with a train, it will probably trip you. If you try to take a step forward in a dress where the fabric is impeding your movement and trailing the ground, it will most likely trip you. In the case of unhooped skirts like these, the best thing to do is just get them out of the way. Because they are less voluminous, it is possible to gird, kirtle, or bustle them up, though you may have to improvise some kind of belt if you don't have one intrinsic to your outfit. Some kind of ribbon which is longer than your waist may come in handy here. In the case of one-handed weapons, or just being in a terrible rush, just picking up the train of the skirt to hold it out of the way may be sufficient, and definitely looks dramatic, but now the offhand is basically out of commission, so if your heroine has any time, girding, kirtling, bustling might be better. But what if your dress is just too big and puffy to gird up like that? What if you have a hooped petticoat underneath? Well, potentially good news for you, because a couple of options present themselves at this point. There's always the option of ditching the petticoat and then girding, kirtling, bustling up the skirt, but that does take time, and if you like the look of the dress as is for cinematic purposes, may I remind you that the principal purpose of a ball gown is to be worn for balls, occasions on which you are expected to dance. And dancing, as you may recall, tends to require free movement of your legs. Therefore, if you find yourself in a fight in a giant skirted ball gown, there's probably quite a lot of room under there for your feet and legs to move about freely. Big hoop skirts also have the advantage that it is impossible to tell exactly where your legs are, and it is possible that an enemy sword may become entangled in your skirts or petticoats. Potentially handy. The train, if you have one, will still have to be dealt with. Many modern wedding dresses have a loop and a button so that you can bustle up your skirt for dancing, so as long as your hoop is sufficiently roomy and your dress doesn't drag the ground, you're probably fine. Anything that is very tightly fitted to the legs will need a dramatic slit up the side, or just hoiked up so that you can actually move. That's the legs then, but what about the arms? Again, the main consideration here is mobility. Can you raise your arms? Move them more or less normally, especially over your head? Can you stab? Can you cut? Can you parry all the places you might want to parry? And if the dress is restrictively tight, are you going to pop seams while you're doing it? Is that a character moment like your Merida from Brave, or are you going to need to talk to the costume department and make sure that they know that someone has to fight in this dress and so the top half is going to need some extra room? A word on undergarments at this point. A stiffened structural underlayer like a corset or stays or similar may provide some light protection against slashing. Regardless of the good luck of Enola Holmes, I wouldn't necessarily rely on them for stabbing protection unless they are very solidly boned, made specifically for the purpose, and the bones are made of steel. And now a brief laundry list of other things to consider when constructing a fight scene involving big formal dresses. Long hair, veils, and dangly jewellery can be snatched at or caught, and that is also true for long flowing sleeves or skirts. Veils could potentially function as impromptu hand protection, distraction, or weapon a la rapier and cloak. Wrap it around your hand and you're good to go. Shoes are a whole other conversation, so leave a comment if you'd like a video specifically about that, but very briefly, bear in mind that any shoe that can be flung off the foot is an impediment, unless you're kicking someone in the head at the time. And anything with a heel, particularly spindly heels, will reduce your contact with the ground and therefore make it more likely that you're going to turn an ankle or fall. A little bit of a block heel is very workable, but anything too skinny will be very treacherous on uneven ground or soft grass. Also, high wedges are kind of not great. Also, if the fashion purpose of high-heeled shoes is to make your legs look better, and you're wearing a full-length dress, what even was the point? An additional point on high-heeled shoes is that if your character decides to take them off to fight, their dress is going to be that much closer to the ground and may need kirtled up as a result. If you'd like to watch more videos about costume-related fight shenanigans, then there is a playlist next to my face which includes me ranting about wedges for 6 minutes and attempting to fight in a corset. See you around!